Major podcast blowing up, yeah, it's all that. Got the hottest guests for success, you can say less. Major on the mission, biggest pod on the top chart. Vision and ambitions, I'm so focused, do the hard work. Thank you for subscribing, doing it really for the people. Lamborghini taste, praying daily, make you lethal. You can make it big.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Major with another episode of the Majorvation Podcast, where we talk about all things inspirational, aspirational, and motivational. As always, it is my duty, my mission, and my goal to bring you great guests. And today, I did not disappoint. Another great guest we have on the podcast is going to just share a little bit about her experience, her life, entrepreneurship, and some things that just makes her awesome. So Paola Marizan, welcome to the Majorvation Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Great pronunciation on the name, by the way.
I know we worked on it. I'm trying to make sure I'm a good student. Once more, thank you for coming on and just kind of sharing with us today. I really want to unpack from the visual aspect of what I've seen following you on social media, right? So you wear a lot of hats, from journalism, from a virtual Spanish teacher, entrepreneur, fitness influencer, and maybe many more hats. But kind of tell me, about the experience of the importance of diversifying and wearing many hats. When back in the day, traditionally, some of my grandparents used to tell us, in order to be successful, you got to sit and focus on one thing. I sure didn't listen. And it seems like you didn't listen or follow that blueprint either.
No, I think we all should do what fits for us, right? I know that I love seeing sometimes like some niche accounts that they're like hyper focused on certain content, and you only go to that page for that. Like whenever I'm looking for my nail inspo, I'll go to like nail, I'll just search nails online and I'll see like something like that. So I commend whoever can kind of focus and do that, but I think that there's so many things that I love that I want to share those things. And so, being in journalism, I really had the experience to talk to so many people about so many different topics. Got to visit their homes, go to their farms. So it was just seeing those experiences and wanting to share those many things in those many different areas. You know, it just didn't motivate me to stay just in one box. It's like I wanted to share about my health experience. So I'm going to share with the world, and with other women, especially who have similar goals than I do, how to achieve those goals, because I don't want to gatekeep. And I think that that's the main point, is not gatekeeping. If there's some areas of your life where something's working out for you, it might also work out for somebody else. So why not share it? Hola, hi guys. I know you're enjoying the episode, and believe me, it gets better. But I want to invite you on developing and working on yourself and on something better. Take Spanish classes with me. They're virtual Spanish classes. I have a class especially for content creators. So if you want to expand your development, expand your brand, feel free to message me, DM me, and we can schedule a time. Now let's get back to the episode.
When it comes to journalism, as you mentioned, when would you say that you found that passion for journalism and capturing those stories? For me, when I'm speaking to people, what I found out indirectly is that it's like a free university, because I learned through people's stories and their experiences, the highs, the lows. Is that kind of like how you found your way with that? Like, what was your process of getting into journalism?
It was actually by accident. I was going to college for science. I was a science major, and my one day I just stumbled upon the journalism office at the university where I was going, and they asked me. Of course, I was an international student, so they were interested, in me maybe talking to other international students about their experiences so they could share on the newspaper. And so they asked me, would you like to just write a short story for us? And I say yes. And so it just kind of started from there. And then I just didn't stop writing stories after that.
No, that's amazing. Sometimes, the best experiences come randomly or even by mistake, and just end up being in a professional field or even an opportunity that kind of changes your whole trajectory of your life. I've heard many stories like that. I'm someone who has had those moments as well. If I'm looking in your bio, you have multiple flags in your bio. So I guess my question would be, how has your multicultural background shaped your approach, your lifestyle to wellness and content creation?
Well, it definitely makes me very aware. I think the world nowadays makes you very aware of who you are, where you come from, that may be for good reasons, like curious and wanting to just learn about other cultures and maybe some other reasons, that are not so great. And so being able to share my different cultures with people through my work in journalism, that being interviewing people in Spanish, sharing their stories that, other people might not be able to share and make them as relatable. And so, that being through my work or just through my content on social media, sharing some of the foods that I love. I know that I have some highlights in my stories where I'm cooking Dominican food, where I'm going to go get some plantains at the store. I've done that live on radio too, where I am actually talking about my culture. And so, I think, being able to share those experiences with people and making people curious about the world, it just lets them also think in other perspectives, put themselves in other people's shoes, and that just creates a kinder, more understanding world overall. So,
And would you say that, from the fitness content that you create, it puts you in a few different categories, obviously, but in the fitness influencer category, do you feel like it's important to inspire other women on their fitness journey that may be hesitant about getting in the gym or continuing their journey as well? So when they turn on your content, they see you moving and grooving and staying with it. So they may be inspired by it also. How important is that to you, or is that something that you've thought about in creating the fitness content that you've created?
So everyone, real quick, I wanted to just share the amazing work that the Majorvation Podcast is doing. We're already getting so many great testimonials because of the guests that we've had on and the stories that they've shared and their actual testimonies about their success and their journey. And that journey and their successes are helping other people fulfill their missions in life. And that's super important. And that's the point and purpose of the Majorvation Podcast. We talk about all things inspirational, aspirational, and motivational. And now we are expanding our reach and saying, hey, if you have a personal brand, if you have a business, if you have a service, and you would like to advertise on the Majorvation Podcast, feel free to reach out to us at the Majorvation Podcast at gmail.com, or send me a DM or jump in the comments and we will follow back up with you. We have pre-roll, we have post-roll, we have also sponsored advertisements that are available slots for you. And this is the early bird because we're still growing, and let's grow together. So reach out to us now, get your opportunity to be seen by so many people with so many influential speakers on this podcast.
it certainly didn't start it like that. I don't consider myself all the way a fitness influencer, yes, yet. I think there are some things that I can continue learning, and continue sharing. But the little that I know, has really helped other women already. I've received messages, or in my comments, you can go and see, other women's comments like, oh my God, thank you for sharing this routine. I want to try it out. Or you're motivating me to go back to the gym. I haven't been in months, and so little things like that make me feel good about posting it, and sharing that, with the world, just creating a healthier world overall, and why, like I said again, why gatekeep whenever we can share those things that are working out for us. And so, yeah, it's definitely been a really great experience so far being in the gym community. The women are so supportive, and we've shared our own, chats. And so we have our own private groups also going on. giving each other some tips and sharing recipes with each other. So that's been a really, really great experience.
Was it always easy for you to kind of post and, show yourself and your life and the things that you're doing and just kind of talk to the whole social media world? I know a lot of people are in the beginning, obviously, were a little hesitant, and now people are building these mega brands and endorsements and sponsorships and all these types of opportunities. Where are you at in regards to how you perceive what you're doing right now? Is it like a hobby, or is it something that you're really trying to build, whether it be a personal brand or a business about around what you're doing and what you represent?
Yeah, my goal overall is have this be my full-time job, if we want to call it a job, passion, right? Or it's something that I love. I think that, with my experience in journalism and also just coming from different countries, being able to speak different languages, just being able to bring people together into communities, that have those things in common. That's opened my eyes to seeing this as part of something that I want to do as a long term. Um, and so yeah, no, I really think that this is a space that people can grow in. I don't see myself yet at the top. I think that there's a lot of growing that I have to do. I'm always pursuing, how can I create better content? How can I relate to people better? And so at the beginning, it wasn't as easy. I think also having training in journalism and doing live shows and, radio and podcasting and TV. And so that gave me a little bit more confidence after practice. So I would say, even if you don't have those resources or those opportunities, um, stand in front of the mirror, and practice. See what you like about yourself. See how you like your face to look like, what hairstyle you prefer. And just learn who you are, learn about yourself, and it'll be so much easier to just share the best version of you that you believe is fit, for your platform. And so, building your own confidence too. So working on that.
It's a constant process when you're doing that because it's kind of like a self-development, self-discovery type of situation. But tell me, have in the process of doing this, I've talked to so many people, but there is also a moment where some people get stuck, or there's a burnout, or you're overthinking. Um, only got this amount of likes, and I've talked to people like, Gary Vaynerchuk and the other people like Ty Lopez and other influencers with, Jake Pauls of the world. And I was just talking about the psychology of keeping that spirit alive as far as keep going, keep going, keep going. Have you faced one of those dilemmas where you felt like it wasn't resonating and you made an adjustment, or you took a break and found that center and came back? Like, how's that journey been for you creating content thus far?
Yeah, I think I've definitely done both. I have, readjusted my content, um, and have also taken a little break because it was just too much. And so I think, no, kind of understanding yourself, knowing what your boundaries are. As a journalist, whenever I was new, I used to wake up and the first thing I would do was grab my phone. And at the time, it was Twitter, but X. I would get on X and just look at the latest stories, and everything that was going wrong in the world. And that would set my tone for the rest of the day, and as a journalist, it was kind of chaotic, and also reporting on immigrant communities that, kind of added to that pressure. And so I think setting some boundaries, after a while, I learned that that was not the first thing I should do in the morning. And so now I have a rule where I don't check my phone in and so, kind of having boundaries and knowing who you are. If you're a morning person, if you're a night owl, those things matter. Knowing who your audience is as well, looking at your analytics. If you, want to spend time more on social media and kind of taking, that switch that your content might need, look what's resonating with your audience, For me, for example, my main audience are women who are between, I would say, 20 to 55. And so, I understand some of their experiences and I can relate to some of them. And so I share more of that. And so, yeah, just understanding who you are, setting those boundaries, and just also understanding who your audience is.
So do you think there's going to ever be an evolution when you share the bloopers from your fitness videos? No, I'm just playing. all,
I
all the
might, I might.
all the uncuts and the cameras falling and the angles all crazy. Trust me, I've done it all. I've done it all. Um, but what would you say you get the most joy out of present day being a creator, somewhat independent entrepreneur spirit, being in journalism? Um, you know, uh, just kind of like what makes you happy right now? What are you enjoying?
Um, this is gonna sound so cliche. But I would say the process of understanding more of where I'm at and what I can be doing better. I think a lot of us are moving so quick that we don't maybe pause and self-reflect. And I think that for you to move forward, you have to do that check-in with yourself, right? And say, okay, I can definitely do a better job at this, or, I can try doing something new. And so right now I'm getting a lot of joy of producing this content and, connecting with the audience and, being in that space of just kind of discovering, what my audience wants, what I want to create, who am I as a creator, I might switch into just a niche eventually, but right now, I think that's what gives me a lot of joy. It's just rediscovering and doing that checking of where can I be doing so much better.
I've been creating for quite some time. I've been on every platform since the beginning. And when it comes to what you're doing as far as creating, what kind of advice would you give someone who is kind of on the fence in regards to feeling like they're not ready? Because in this day and age, a lot of people are sharing this content that looks to them so amazing. It's polished, it's angles, it's cuts, it's edits, and all this other stuff. And a lot of people believe they can't start unless they have all those tools and teams in place. What kind of encouragement or advice could you give someone, especially women that are wanting to start being more creative digitally, um, as far as advice on how to get started and what they can use right now to bypass all those invisible barriers that they keep putting up in front of themselves?
Yeah, I'm gonna just say the short version real quick. Just do it, girl. You know what I'm saying? Just do it. Just post it. Just share it. Whoever's gonna love your content will gravitate towards it. I think nowadays, as a journalist, I guess I get to see it firsthand because I am into so many things and I am paying attention to so many outlets at one point, at the same time. But there's content for everyone in the world. I mean, whatever it is that you're into shoes, you're into pest control, you're into, I mean, anything that you can think of, there is a platform for it. Somebody is posting about it. There is a story around it. I mean, there are memes, communities about it. So it's just, a matter of finding your community. So post the content. You don't have to have it perfect. Whenever I started, I really didn't know anything about video editing. And I just learned as I went, and I tried different things and I saw what resonated with my audience most. And that's what I continue posting most of and getting better at. And so I think just, again, self-reflection, knowing who you are, and building your own self-confidence, and just posting it and letting your audience find you. Sometimes we're very busy in trying to find our audience instead of just trying to create community, which is very different.
That's a bar also. That's what rappers say. That's a bar. That's a bar right there. Uh, so with the fitness part of it, well, I come back to the fitness question. So I want to go to the virtual Spanish classes, right? So how has that experience been? How long have you been doing that? And what are some of the testimonials of people that have worked with you? I know that just from meeting you right now, I've learned something, better pronunciation of your name. So how has that process been in testimonials, working with others, seeing them start at a certain place verbally, and then get to a different place? How has that been for you? Has it been rewarding?
It has been very rewarding. Yeah, I absolutely love it. The people that I've worked with come from different areas, um, different ages. I am specializing. I'm doing very focused Spanish classes for people depending on who they are, their job, their content. So I had someone who was a hairstylist, for example, and everything that we learned in Spanish was, at the beginning was how you greet your clients, how to ask them what hairstyle they have, how to establish that conversation about, the look, the payment information, those things that come up in real life that you're facing right now. And so I tailor all of my classes to who you are as a person. And so that way, maybe later on when you're more advanced, we can go into the most general, conversations that you can think of. But for the most part, I want people to be able to use their Spanish right away, right? And so it's been really rewarding. Some of my students have already graduated. So, we do a little celebration and they move either onto the next level or, they go onto the world. And I have some awesome reviews if anybody wants to check them out. They're on my social media. But so far it's been great. And I have open slots if anyone's interested. So,
I may have to be one of those. Me and my wife and my son have been thinking about taking some Spanish lessons because all of our kids, or one of them is taking Spanish now. My middle son is taking uh, Chinese, and I feel like a moron sometimes because they're
oh, wow,
talking,
that's
they're talking,
amazing.
and I have no understanding or comprehension at all in my own house, and it's like it's not a good feeling. So we definitely might have to call you up for sure. Speaking about the future,
Well, I wanted to add to that the I'm sorry. No, I wanted to add quickly to that I do have a Spanish for content creators. And so I know that that's something that's coming up a lot. There's a lot of other brands and doors all over the world that will work with you. Maybe, I know that we have Google Translates nowadays, but if there is something that you wanted to expand on and you wanted to really dominate that area of your life where you can communicate with somebody in Spanish, in the realm of content creation, I'd be happy to help too. So,
oh, that'd be fantastic. We'll have to take you up on it. I appreciate it. So what do you feel like is next for your evolution? Obviously, as a content creator, as someone who is looking to take this to a full-time opportunity, a full-time job, full-time service. And I have to give you a correction because in the beginning, you was like maybe a hobby. It's like you was afraid to call it a job, right? And it's interesting that you said that because I remember
ooh,
years ago that people said that, when you remember when people used to get married and date from online, and it was like, you know he was like thought it was weird, but now everyone
yeah,
does. Now everyone is doing it, right? So it's
yeah,
normal. So embrace it. This could be your
yes,
full-time job, your
yes.
full-time company, and we're going to see it thrive and grow. But what's next? What do you see over the next couple years with this new digital rise of AI, artificial intelligence, all these different tools we have access to for for editing, for content creation, people collaborating? Like, have you started to strategize now for the next year or two to try to see where you can grow into?
What's up, listener? You're here because you want to be motivated to take your life to the next level. Well, sometimes hard work isn't the answer, and what is the answer is a fresh perspective. And you can get that by picking up my book, Perspective, Rewire Your Brain for Success and Abundance, online. It's a quick read, and it'll get to the root cause of why you might be stuck where you are, and it'll help you break through the glass ceiling and reach untapped success. Pick it up on Amazon or wherever books are sold.
I definitely have. I want to expand my services. And like I said, I don't gatekeep at all. So one of the things that I'm expanding on is I have a free guide for anyone who needs it. And it's called Empower and Grow. And I'm gonna, oh, you know what? Let's cut that part.
Yeah, I got you.
But I have a free guide. I have a free guide that's called Empower and Grow. And it's for anyone who needs it. It's, about self-reflection, building self-confidence, learning how to set boundaries. I have it free online, and it's available. I want to expand on that by collaborating with some companies, making it available in other languages. Right now, I have it in English and in Spanish, and I'm translating it into French as well. So, I want to make sure that everybody feels included and feels that they can just grab this PDF and, sit down for a couple of minutes and fill out, a plan that you're going to do something and get something done, set a goal or work on self-development. And so I created that based on all the experiences that I've had, with the many hats that I wear. As a mom, it's also very helpful. So I think, I want to expand on that. I want to make sure that, I make that available to more people. I want to continue creating content and collaborating with the brands that, really resonate with what I stand for. And right now I've collaborated with really great brands. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to just growing in that area and sharing more of the resources that I've learned throughout the years. So,
If you had a bucket list of brands to work with, is there a bucket list, like a top 2 or 3 that you would like to work with and see yourself align with moving forward?
you know what? Um, I don't have a bucket list.
You're like, whoever's gonna cut
Um,
me a check.
I I am just, I think that I don't know of everything that's out there. So I want to make sure that I'm open to all the opportunities that the universe and God may send my way. And so if there is a company, if there is a brand, an organization that feels that, we are aligned and they resonate with the mission that I speak of, then I am all for it. So yeah, I am just excited to grow and I'm open to opportunities.
I love it. So where can people kind of follow your mission, go get the free PDF or any website available? Where can people find you and hopefully connect with you and just follow you on your continuous journey of success?
Yeah, so they can definitely follow me on Instagram. That is my main platform, at Lola Island Gal. And, I'm sure I'll probably be tagged here. So you can see it in the comments or in the caption. But that's my main platform. The PDF is linked there for free. I also have a couple of broadcast channels where I share tips from the PDF. Every week, and I have one in Spanish and one in English. I have another channel where I share high protein meals for the girlies who wanna, put in a little bit more protein into their diets. I share meals there too. So yeah, you can go in there and everything is for free and available. So just follow me, comment, and yeah, I love engagement. So
No, that's
thank you.
fantastic. Do you have anything right now that's available that people could support you as far as purchasing some of the things that you're doing, whether it's a fitness regimen, whether it's a guide that's not free, or how do they upgrade to work with you further? Is that in place, or is that something that you're working on in the future?
So right now I am developing a more extensive guide, and so that's going to be, based more on a purchase.
Okay.
But I think if you definitely want to, support my journey and support your journey too, you're welcome to learn some Spanish, which are paid classes. So feel free to take my Spanish classes. They're one-on-one, to you. I make it fun. We listen to music. We talk about real life experiences. And so I also create a personalized Google chat for me and, the student. And that way we can keep a track of all the documents because, I let you have everything for free and access at all times so you can practice also on your own time. So that would be a great way to support me right now.
So we'll definitely have that information available in the show notes so people can have access to that. We have the social medias and whatever links that you send over to us as well. So I look forward to it. But I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time. We finally made it happen. Um, and just sharing your story, in regards to everything that you're doing. And I hope that this conversation just travels all over and people are able to get inspired by just your encouragement of resilience and just doing it and just getting started. And it's okay to wear multiple hats. I guess one of the last questions I have for you, how do you find what do you do to unwind? I heard you mention motherhood. Obviously, we always have great releases hanging out with our kids. But
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you do to kind of unwind, kind of reset and rejuvenate? Because it takes a toll on us creating all these different pieces of content. It's a new era. It's a new. Tell people it's a new muscle that we're working that we've never worked before. You know, we're in an age of information overload, so we're always studying and looking at different things, looking at these screens. But sometimes you have to disconnect and kind of reset. What would you say is a good, you know, mechanism that you use to kind of help you reset?
Well, I would say meditation has really helped me. I started doing yoga a long time ago, and that kind of introduced me into meditation. And it's been something that, I started out small by just doing 5 minutes of, just taking a moment at work where I would just step away from my computer and just take deep breaths, check in, make sure I was okay, um, think of things that I'm looking forward to, maybe if in that moment I wasn't at my best. And so I would say, meditation has really helped. Now, I love guided meditations. So, if you're a beginner and you really sometimes can shut off your mind because you're always thinking, oh, maybe I should be creating content or maybe I should be editing this video or thinking of a caption for the next thing, right? Doing guided meditations also helps you kind of shut those thoughts out, as opposed to being in complete silence. So I would say that that's a great practice for anyone who's looking to just have a reset moment. If you only have 5 minutes, you can definitely make it work.
2 months ago, I was somewhere. We got like about to run out of time, but 2 months ago, I was somewhere with someone, and there was a comedy show that was paying $100 for amateurs. I've never done a comedy show in my life, and my buddies dared me. So they bet me $20 that I wouldn't do it. So I did it. I won $20, but I actually won the amateur night and won $100. I've never
Oh,
done it before.
awesome.
I was, because I can public speak, so it wasn't a big deal, but I was still nervous. I was like, I've never done this before. I just talked about my kids. That's all. I talk about my kids. They the funniest dudes ever, and it ended up working out. But thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. You are now a part of our community. We'll continue to message you some of
Thank
the things
you.
that we're doing, and we can circle back and do this in another month or two to get you back on.
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you so much.